Marcus Reno, a seasoned military officer, played a significant role in both the American Civil War and the Great Sioux War. He is best known for his part in the Battle of Little Bighorn, where he served as a senior officer under George Armstrong Custer. Reno's actions during the battle sparked controversy, eventually leading to his court-martial and dismissal from the Army. However, his reputation was later re-examined, and he was posthumously awarded an honorable discharge. Reno now rests in Custer National Cemetery, where he is buried with full honors. His letter detailing his first-hand account of the Battle of Little Bighorn remains a key historical document that sheds light on the events of that day. Following General Custer's orders to attack the native village, we advanced about 1.5 miles when we began to hear gunfire. As we encountered the native forces, we were heavily outnumbered and had to dismount to engage them on foot. After a brief clash, we retreated to a hilltop where our horses and mules were stationed. The men took cover behind the bushes, preparing to defend themselves. At approximately 5:30 p.m., the natives launched a large-scale attack. The battle lasted through the night until about 9 p.m., when they pulled back. With only makeshift tools, knives, plates, and canteens, we dug shallow trenches for protection. At 2:30 a.m. on the 26th, the natives renewed their assault, this time focusing on our horse herd from a hill beyond the range of our carbines. The attack continued until 9:30 a.m., with their numbers overwhelming us. At around 8 a.m., the natives also targeted Colonel Benteen's position, where one native was killed after getting too close to a fallen soldier in an attempt to count a coup. As we dealt with numerous wounded soldiers and a critical lack of water, Colonel Benteen led a team to fetch water from a source about 600 yards away, while a skirmish line protected them. Tragically, one volunteer was killed and 6 others were injured, but we managed to get water back to the wounded. Throughout the day, the natives continued to harass us, but seemed to be gradually withdrawing. From my position, I saw them start a large fire in the valley, causing clouds of dust and smoke. Using this cover, they appeared to be retreating in an organized military formation towards the Bighorn Mountains, some 30 miles away. Initially, I suspected this could be Custer returning, but we were unaware of the tragedy that had already befallen him and his men. The next morning, General Terry arrived, bearing the grim news of Custer's defeat. Colonel Benteen's company was dispatched to the battlefield, where they confirmed the loss and identified the bodies of the fallen officers. I had been given command of companies M and G, with orders from General Custer to charge quickly, assured that support would follow. Colonel Cook, the regiment's adjutant, conveyed this last order I would receive from Custer. Both Cook and Captain Keough accompanied me briefly, with Keough stating, "We're all advancing and Miles Keough is coming too." However, after crossing the ford, I never saw them again. I had sent a message to Custer, warning him of the strong native presence, but I continued the charge, assuming he was behind me. As I neared the village, natives began to flank us on the left. Realizing I was isolated, I ordered my men to dismount and take cover in a nearby wooded area. After securing the horses, we advanced towards the village, coming within 200 yards before we were faced with overwhelming native forces. We had no choice but to make a break for the bluffs to find a defensive position. Fortunately, Colonel Benteen and Captain McDougal later joined us with their companies. We stumbled upon a hidden ford, allowing us to reach the safety of the bluffs. At the time, I had only 112 men and 25 scouts. Had we not retreated to the bluffs, my command would have been wiped out like Custer's. Our most significant error was underestimating the native forces, which numbered between 2,500 and 5,000 warriors. These Sioux and Cheyenne fighters were among the finest cavalry units I had ever encountered, rivaling any cavalry I had seen. Captain Anson Mills, who witnessed their capabilities after being defeated by Crazy, horse at the Battle of the Rosebud, shared my respect for their prowess. During the battle, Lieutenant Cook displayed exceptional bravery, remaining mounted even after Custer had fallen. He led the remaining men in repeated charges against the natives. According to Curley, a Crow Scout and the only confirmed survivor of Custer's command, Lieutenant Cook's small group fought valiantly, even causing the Sioux warriors to temporarily retreat before they were eventually overwhelmed by sheer numbers. After the Battle of Little Bighorn, Marcus Reno was heavily criticized, accused of cowardice, incompetence, and drunkenness. Despite these accusations, Reno took command of what was left of the 7th Cavalry, replacing George Custer. An official inquiry eventually cleared Reno of wrongdoing, but in 1877 he faced charges of improper conduct towards another officer's wife, leading to a 2-year suspension. In 1880, Reno was found guilty of assaulting a junior officer and being intoxicated on duty, resulting in his dismissal from the Army. Despite efforts to clear his name, Reno died of cancer in Washington, D.C. in 1889. Nearly 80 years later, in 1967, a military review board revisited his case, examining original records and testimonies. As a result, Reno's discharge status was changed to honorable. Initially buried in an unmarked grave at Washington's Oak Hill Cemetery, his remains were reinterred at Custer National Cemetery within the Little Bighorn battlefield.